Welcome to the Holistic Kid Show. My name is Zane.
My name is Abdullah.
And my name's Imad.
We're the Holistic Kids Church educating us kids from the inside out.
Ready for a poop joke?
Nope, they stink.
One thing kids love to laugh about is poop. Imad loves it.
No, poop jokes are my favorite jokes, but they're solid number 2.
Ooh. Okay.
Did you hear about the constipated?
Okay, that's good. That's good enough. Well, poop can be. Oh, wait, poop can be perfect. Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. All apart our path to perfect poop.
Wait, poop can be perfect?
Yes, you want it just right. Not too hard, not too soft. And to help us with just that is Mr. Stephen Wright, founder of the Healthy Gut. Stephen Wright is an engineer and the founder of and CEO of Healthy Gut, a company that offers hope for those suffering with digestive pain, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, gas, and other GI ailments. Fueled by his own lifelong health problems, Stephen coached, researched, and biohacked his way to a better understanding of what's needed to sustain the gut health. So, after years of coaching others and reverse engineering his own symptoms, he now offers results oriented solutions for better GI health.
Thank you so much, sisters. We are so honored you're here to join us.
So, how does someone turn their entire career into helping people poop better? But then again, that's actually genius. We would love to hear your story.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, you don't usually choose to specialize in poop unless you have a lot of pooping problems. So I have a lot of embarrassing stories. They started when I was a kid, similar to your ages, and I used to fart a lot, and my family nicknamed me the Gas Man when I was probably 15 or 16. And at the time, I thought it was funny, and poop jokes are funny. And part of what we're going to talk about today is just, getting rid of the stigma around poop and farting. But it became a lot more painful for me. And so I spent the last 14 years just going through Western alternative, all kinds of stuff from around the world, trying to figure out what actually works when somebody can't poop right, and how do you get someone better so that they can really have a great long life.
So we hear a lot about most kids are constipated. What is that normal?
So it's not normal per se or healthy for the body. It's super common, unfortunately. And so I think that's the thing, is that we just don't talk about poop enough. And have you guys heard of the Bristol stool chart?
No.
No.
Okay, well, this is going to get graphic and fun. So the Bristol stool chart is an easy way for you to talk about poop with your parents or the doctors or whoever you want. In my household, we talk about it with everybody. So the Bristol stool chart is numbers. So number 1 looks like little rabbit pellets. So when you poop, that's constipation, your little rabbit pellets. A number 2 is kind of like a Snickers bar, right? It's like hard, and it's like all those pellets stuck together. A number 3 is kind of like a corn cob. It's still a little bumpy and still a little hard, not that bad. A perfect poop is a 4. A 4 is kind of like, I don't know, like a banana, like really easy, soft, like you did great. A number 5 is on the diarrhea side, and that's like these little fluffy pieces, like little chunks, like if you cut your banana up. And then a 6 is a lot more liquidy, and a 7 is full liquid diarrhea. And so in our house, we'll come out of the bathroom and be like, hey, that was a 3, that was a 4, that was a 5. And so it's a really fun way to kind of track yourself and see how your gut is doing.
That is a very interesting way of tracking how your gut is doing. Never heard of that before.
So what should the perfect poop look like? I mean, you said that it looked like bananas, but like,
what's the perfect?
So it's kind of a mixture between like a soft serve ice cream and a banana. So it's going to be, but here's the thing. There's actually criteria to a perfect poop. So what it looks like is kind of like a banana, but it comes out like soft serve, meaning that it should be quick, it should be painless, it should be in and out in like 4 minutes or less. So I say it should be like a NASCAR pit stop. You're going in the bathroom, you're feeling the urge to go. It should look kind of like a banana or so. You should, wipe once or twice. You shouldn't have a lot of mess down there, and then you should be on your way. If it's one of those things where you have to wipe, like 10 or 20 or 30 times, if you're on the toilet for a really long time and you're having to like push and strain, that's going to lead to problems, not for you guys, but probably in like another 15 years, you'll start to have hemorrhoids, fissures, all kinds of issues that plague a lot of adults. And it starts right now as kids based on whether you push or not and how long you spend sitting on the toilet.
Why is it so important to poop daily? Why is poop so important?
Well, I mean, because it's funny and it feels great when you get a good poop. But beyond that, poop is one of our biggest ways we detoxify. So you guys have a lot of detox experts on the show. And a mentor of mine once said, if you're not pooping every day, so you're being constipated, basically, if you're not going every day, it's almost like you're taking the trash from all the rooms in your house and you're stacking them up at your front door, but you're never taking them out to the road to get rid of them. So all that waste is backing up in the inside of your house. And of course, if you guys did that for a week, it would smell really bad. If you have any pets, they might get into it. And the same thing is true with your body. Our main ways of detoxifying are to poop, pee, and sweat every day. And so pooping is one of the biggest ways to get that done, and one of the most important things you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, because I mean, if you didn't poop on a daily basis, then that's kind of a big problem. So remember to poop daily, okay?
So what you're saying is that our poop tells us what our gut is like, if it is healthy or sick. So why is gut health so important?
Well, I mean, I'm biased because this is what I've spent the last 14 years on, but I think gut health is the foundation of the rest of our health, because everything you eat and everything you drink has to go through the gut. The gut has to break down and neutralize any bad things and then pull out the nutrients to make everything else work, whether you want your brain to work better, you want your skin to be better. And then the leftovers and some of the toxins are your poop, and that goes out. So if your gut's not working, you can have the most amazing diet out there. You can be eating the best foods for yourself, but you won't be actually getting the nutrients out of your food. And then that sets up the conditions for all kinds of gut problems down the road.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of kids are dealing with these issues, but they don't think too much because now diarrhea, constipation, these seem like these seem normal now. So could gut health be actually related to that?
Yeah, definitely. So our gut is kind of like our second brain. So I don't know, have either one of you guys kind of fallen in love with anybody yet? Have you felt those feelings, the butterflies in your stomach?
No.
Not yet. Okay. Well, have you felt fear like on a roller coaster or a
Yes.
scary moment?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So we
Yes.
feel things in our gut, and our gut has a lot of the same neurons, and we feel a lot of emotions there. And that travels to our brains, to our minds, to the rest of our bodies. And constipation and diarrhea can be directly related to that. So it's actually pretty common, for instance, for somebody who's having, say, a bunch of anxiety or stress about their schoolwork or about something that's going on in their life, to be kind of holding on and trying to control things and be constipated. It's also really common if you get in a really fearful situation and you run really hard, you do like a hard workout or something, you could have diarrhea afterwards. Again, you're kind of like really letting go. It gets been really intense. And so your gut is going to directly change based on how you're feeling, what you're eating, and what you're doing.
So you're basically saying that if we eat better foods, if we eat and we help our gut health, then we could be pooping better.
Yeah, definitely. So, think about it this way. I don't know if you guys believe that there's a one right way to do a diet. Do you believe that?
No.
Yeah,
No.
me either. And I've been studying this stuff for a long time. And so I don't think there's one right diet for anybody. Food is, on one end of the spectrum, it's really nutritious. On another end of the spectrum, it's less, nutritious and more inflammatory. The biggest thing though is everybody's gut is in a different state. And if you eat foods that you cannot break down into little nutrients and then absorb, then it doesn't get broken down and it begins to feed bad bugs that can grow inside of you. And so that diet, whether it's corn or wheat or meat or something else, isn't right for that person. And so we really need to think about, is our gut capable of breaking down the foods we actually eat? Because that's really what determines whether the diet's right for you and if you're going to feel good and have perfect poops.
So let's get dirty. How can we improve our poop to make it more
What?
and ask our pit stop?
Yeah, great question. So I think one of the best things that kids can do is to, number one, just be aware of the Bristol stool chart we talked about earlier. And then number two is, I don't know, you guys could say gratitude. You might say prayers before you eat. Do you do that in your household?
Yeah.
Okay. So slowing down when you eat and saying some prayers is a really big deal because it actually makes it so that your gut can make acid in your stomach and can make enzymes work in your intestines. And so those two steps are really good. And if those things aren't getting you to perfect poops, then you can start to use things like supplements, like digestive enzymes, which are usually great as long as you're above 2 years old. You can start to try those and they can help basically pick up where your body might be falling short in breaking down your foods.
So what are digestive enzymes?
So that is a great question. Enzymes are essentially things that like cut up. So like you got your fingers and you have like little knuckles. Think of that like part of food. And so enzymes come in and they cut each one of your knuckles up into smaller chunks because your body can only absorb food that's broken down into really small chunks. If it's the bigger chunk, it can't actually go through your gut into the rest of your body. And so that means something else will eat it later on that you probably don't want to eat it. And so the digestive enzymes come usually from your pancreas, but also from your intestines at the brush border, and they chop up your food and make it so it's digestible.
So you were mentioning how gratitude. So does stress affect how you poop?
Yeah, 1,000%, because your body has two main modes of its nervous system. It's either parasympathetic or sympathetic, and it should be, jumping back and forth all day long. But in our modern world, we're using a lot of technology. There's a lot of things to be afraid about. There's a lot of demands from school to sports to hobbies, and that lends itself to being in sympathetic. But when you go into gratitude, it shifts your body into parasympathetic, and that allows the blood actually to flow into your digestive organs. Have you ever been told not to swim after you eat?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you did go swimming right after you eat, you're going to start moving your hands around, right? You're going to be playing around. That's sympathetic. You're going to be taking the blood away from your gut where your digestion is happening. And so one of the reasons we wait 30 minutes or more after eating before we swim is because we want the body in parasympathetic, and we want the blood all around our digestive organs so that we can actually digest the food and pull it out of into the rest of the body, basically.
Yeah, so does that also work like if you're like going to the gym and like
you're working out? So
yeah.
if you eat before working out, kind of, is it the same thing?
Yeah. I mean, some people can do it. I can't personally. I'll have diarrhea if I eat like a big meal and then try to go work out. And I think part of the reason why is you need those, you need your stomach acid, you need your digestive enzymes working properly to break down that food. That's why a lot of people use protein shakes, right? Because they're pre-digested already for you.
Yeah, because I have gym or at PE after
Lunch.
yeah,
Does
lunch.
does it sometimes your belly hurt afterwards?
Yeah, sometimes if we're doing like really like today we just ran a lap around the pond, so um
Yeah, it must have been hard at the bathroom. Anyways, um, so we were talking about digestive enzymes before. What are some of the symptoms that people have that they need digestive enzymes to help fix? Because you were saying supplements can help with pooping, basically.
Yeah. So again, when you look in the toilet after you're done pooping, it can tell you a lot about your gut health as well as your overall health. So like for instance, let's say you eat a salad and then later on or tomorrow you look in the toilet and you see little pieces of leaves, right? Like little pieces of kale or spinach. That's telling you that you can't properly break down that food right now and you may need something like digestive enzymes to properly break down those leaves. So you might see like oily toilet. So you could like have your poop floating and you could look at it and it could be really shiny. And that's usually a sign of low lipase, which is a fat digesting enzyme. Other people, when they eat a lot of meat, they'll get like meat sweats or meat burps. Usually that's a sign of not enough of a protein degrading enzyme. And so paying attention to what you're eating and what's going in the toilet can kind of tell you maybe which enzymes might be low. But in general, since enzymes have to, you chew it, right?
Yeah.
But then your body has to do everything else before it comes out brown and perfect, in the toilet. And so enzymes are the biggest driver of doing that. And if it doesn't look like that, in general, using a digestive enzyme supplement can help you, whether you're constipated or having diarrhea.
So what controls the color of your poop?
Well, that is a complex question because have you ever eaten like a lot of green stuff, like green candy or something, and saw like green poops the next day? No. Okay, you could eat a lot of blueberries.
I've had beet before.
Okay, yeah.
And then after that, it was kind of red.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that can be really scary. Some people might think they're having like blood in their stools when it's just the fact that they're eating beets or something else that's really red. So in general, it should be like a medium brown color. That suggests a really healthy, normal digestive process. But if your diet is really colorful in one direction, that can change the color of it. If you're for instance, not breaking down your food properly, that can also change the color of it. And then if you do see red in your stools, definitely talk to your parents, talk to a doctor. That's a sign. Either really, really dark black or red are signs that there's blood getting into your intestines and coming out in the toilet. And so that's where our stools can tell us a lot about our health before we have to go to the hospital. If you can catch that stuff early and communicate it to your parents or the doctors, you may not end up having to go to the hospital because you can fix it early on.
And what about yellow? Because yellow, if I see it, it's like, oh, that seems like there's something wrong. Is there something wrong with yellow?
Like how yellow? Like the yellow above your head yellow, or like fluorescent yellow, or like what kind of yellow?
Like a yellowish, greenish kind of
Okay.
brownish.
Well, I mean, it could be mucousy. So you might be you might be moving too fast. Like you might be on the looser side, or you might be shedding a bunch of mucus. You might be reacting a little bit to the foods you're eating. That one's not as like it's not as like simple to say it's always this thing or always that thing. It can depend on what you're eating. But a lot of times that may end up being excess mucus that's coming out.
Oh, I got it. Oh, I never thought poop was so complicated.
It can be, but if you learn the code of it, you can tell a lot about what your body enjoys eating and what will be really healthy for you.
So what can lower our natural digestive enzymes?
So, being stressed all the time can definitely lower it. You can also have birth defects that, you could be born with something going on with your pancreas or something else with your pancreatic ducts. So, you should, if you think this is an issue, getting some of the Western testing is a great idea. Another thing is that essentially inflammation inside the intestines from maybe a parasite or an overgrowth of yeast or bacteria, that inflammation basically blunts these little hairs inside of our small intestine, and it can make them look like this. You want the hairs like really up in the air. And when the inflammation comes in and chops up the villi, which is the little hairs, they're not as able to release brush border enzymes because they're hurting and they're inflamed. And so if you have extra inflammation, if you have extra gut pain, that's a really good sign that there's something causing less enzyme release.
All right, so we talked about digestive enzymes. What about prebiotics and probiotics?
Yeah. So prebiotics are essentially what the probiotics eat to make postbiotics. So you can think about the prefixes there. So pre, pro, and post. But basically, probiotics are good. They're alive, good bugs, right? They can help us. The prebiotics are kind of like fermentable stuff. Like I'm sure maybe your mom says, "Hey, eat your vegetables," and you're like, maybe. Vegetables and fruit are really full of fermentable fibers, which are types of prebiotics. And so those prebiotics feed the probiotics, and then those probiotics give off postbiotics. They give off their own poop, if you will, which is beneficial to us.
Yeah. Wait. So will that help digestion, and will that increase or help how we poop?
Yeah, they totally can. So prebiotics are really great, especially for constipation. If you have bloating after you eat, they can be a little hard for people who are bloated. Probiotics have gotten a lot of attention lately, and they can be helpful for some folks. But the technology is changing a lot, and so in general, I don't recommend that many probiotics these days. I encourage people to focus on the digestive enzymes, the prebiotics, and the postbiotics.
So you mentioned postbiotics. I haven't heard that one before. What is a postbiotic?
So postbiotic is just kind of a catch-all term for the poop of your probiotics. And the poop is made up of all kinds of metabolites. The biggest grouping of these metabolites are called short chain fatty acids. So this is like a really small piece of fat. And there's one called butyrate. And butyrate has a lot of research going back many decades to be very helpful for people of all types of conditions, whether you have IBS or IBD, or you have asthma or osteoporosis. It's basically this chemical that is made by your microbiome, by the probiotics, that your body likes to run on and likes to really, it needs a lot of it for the intestines to stay healthy.
So, what's the difference between human poop and animal poop, or at least like worm poop? Because isn't worm poop like helpful to the environment?
Yeah, totally. Well, it's all a function of what they eat, right? So I don't necessarily know what the earthworm eats off the top of my head, but I know it's munching on something. And so it's drawing nutrients out of whatever it's munching on, whether we could talk about a bear, we could talk about an earthworm or a human. And so we're eating different types of, vegetables and plants and animals. And then we take nutrients so we can live. And then we leave the rest behind in our poop for other things. And so it's not necessarily that human poop isn't fertilizer. It's just that in general, a lot of the stuff that we do, we wouldn't want to just put it out in our yards all day long like an earthworm.
Well, that was amazing. What else can kids do to improve the way their body digests and how they poop?
Yeah, well, we've covered some really simple things, which is like track your poop. If your belly hurts, it's not normal. Say something or try eating something differently, because foods can hurt kids. And if you've already tried those things, I think another really safe and easy thing to try is a digestive enzyme supplement. Obviously I'm very partial to the one that I created because I tried almost all the other ones out there and they didn't really work for me and for the clients that I had. So I partnered with a PhD to kind of develop an even better one called Holozyme. So I would say test something like that out. The other thing that I would say is feel free to test out a prebiotic or a probiotic if that's something you have access to, if your family's into that. And then lastly, I would say as a kid, one of the number one things you could do on a regular basis to help your gut and be pooping every day is go outside. Make sure you're getting outside. Play in the dirt. Don't wash every speck of dirt off of you. There's a lot of basically input in like smell as well as like little molecules in the air that come from outside that tell our body that, hey, everything's okay. This is a normal environment. And that helps the parasympathetic nervous system, which is that part that allows us to poop great and digest well. And so I think if we can get outside more, get some sunlight, as well as use some supplements, if your poop isn't great or if you're having pain down there, that's a great way to start.
Well, that's amazing. Remember to go outside, do gratitude, because all of that can really help. Even though you might not think about it, think that it helps, it really does. So you were talking about your product Holozyme. Please tell us more about you and your work.
Yeah, thanks. So Holozyme is the most advanced enzyme on the market in that it's coupled with a mineral cofactor is what it's called, to turn on the enzymes. And so I met a guy who has a patent and we ran some studies, and it turns out enzymes need a mineral to turn on and do their work. They need energy basically. And so Holozyme is built for people with food sensitivities, maybe like dairy or gluten or starch, things like this that can be hard for some people to digest, like myself. And then it has the mineral all inside the little capsule. And you can also open the capsule and sprinkle it on your food if you don't swallow things. And what it does is it just helps break down the food better and faster so that you get the nutrients out of it, and it leaves less food for the bad guys in your gut to grow and make bloating and other things happen.
That was so empowering.
So empowering.
So empowering.
Everyone, make sure to follow Mr. Steven on social media. He is such an inspiration. Thank you so much, Mr. Steven. This was so fun. I didn't know there was so much to learn about stuff we just flushed down the toilet. Now let's recap Mr. Steven's key points. Number 1.
Remember, it's so important to know what kind of poop you're pooping. Remember to always check if you're pooping right. One is if you just have the pellets, all the way to you need to see a doctor, you have some diarrhea or some problem. And 3, having a nice
Popcorn.
No, that's number. Oh, yeah, that's number 3. I mean, number 4, having the nice banana shape. And then also remember to go outside. Like Mr. Steven said, there's so many particles out there that can really help you and your body, because humans are built to be outside. We're built to, go outside, be in the sun, be in the rain. All of this will really help your body. And remember to be grateful, because stress can really affect your life and you might not even know it. So remember to say what you're thankful for, write something down, write a list of what you're thankful for, and just try to be grateful.
So that was so empowering. Everyone, make sure to follow Dr. Mr. Steven on social media. He is such an inspiration. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time. I'm Zansari.
I'm Abdullah.
And I'm Imad.
Follow my family and I on social media. Holistic Mom D, and look out for my mom's book, The Holistic RX, your guide to ending chronic inflammation and disease, and the amazing children's book we wrote together called Adam's Healing Adventures, The Power of Rainbow Food. So check it out on Amazon. Yay! We need to work together to create a healthy future for all of us and the planet. Did I already say that? Join us
Just keep
next
going,
week
just
for
keep going.
another episode of the Holistic Kid Show. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.